Right now, I believe that everybody's mind is on one topic, and one topic alone. It is called the economy of our country. This country that was born some 60 years ago. We are at a major crossroad, and this crossroad is going to determine our future. We are at a stage where we have been squeezed beyond any reasonable doubt. We have sweated for this nation. We have given our all. We have been peace-loving. We have loved this country. We have gone through one reform or another. And now we are at the final reform, which is our economic liberation. This is the last one. And we must achieve it properly. For those who don't know the true state or why we are having this conversation on the economy, for those who are wondering why they are working very hard and they are not getting the commensurate return out of their sweat, I think it is important to understand why. Today, the problem we have is that our sweat, which is going to government revenue, is our revenue as taxation, is going to one big problem. Of every 100 shillings the government is collecting, every 100 shillings KRA is collecting from us, just under 80 shillings is going to a monster called debt. That is important to understand. It is going to a monster called debt payments. 10 years ago, it was only 18 shillings going to debt. So money we were contributing was able to come back to us in so many ways to our benefit. A lot of what we call modern Kenya that began under the Kibaki era. Right now, it is 80. Then the government needs another 30 shillings for the county. So it is at negative 10. It needs another 50 shillings for their salaries. It is at negative 60. And in order for police cars and so on to operate, they need another 30 shillings. So they are at negative 90. And that money, they keep coming back to borrowing to survive. It is like you in your home, that all your 10,000 shillings, 8,000 shillings is going towards a debt you have taken, and you have now borrowed another 9,000 shillings so that you put food on the table, so that you have transport to go to work, so that your kids can go to school. It is impossible to sustain. And that is the problem we have. Now, the Kenya Kwanza government has decided to address this issue by coming to take more money from us. Tax, more tax. And I can tell you what you're going to see in the budget this week is very, very frightening to some of us. They are proposing to raise in the next 1 year 2.9 trillion out of taxation, revenue from us. They are currently, because the end of the financial year is nigh, they will not collect this year. Under the previous government's budget, they will not collect more than 1.8, maybe a maximum of 1.9 trillion. So the government is saying that the Kenyans have not stagnated, they are going to grow, and we wish that was the case. And we can extract another 1 trillion above our current collection. I want to say why that is frightening. When Kibaki took over, because history must be our guide, When Mwai Kibaki took power in 2003, he found tax collections of the previous regime at just under 200 billion shillings. 200 billion. Progressively, over 10 years, he raised the collections to 1 trillion. So every year, no more than about 80 billion shillings, more being collected. When Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta took power, he found the coffers of revenue, tax collections, our money, at 1 trillion shillings. Over 10 years, he has progressively taken it to 1.8 trillion. In other words, no more than about 80 billion every year increase. But we are now being told that in 1 year, miujiza, we can get another 1 trillion. What governments in the last 10 years were even unable to collect over 10 years, we can now collect in 1 year. This is very frightening because it is an absurdity, it is an unachievable target. And I want you to remember that what we are discussing is dealing with debt. And my view is that this will not solve it. We are postponing an inevitability. That inevitability is how we deal with this debt monster that is taking 80% of our hard-earned sweat and going out of this country or to oligarch banks. We must address it head-on. We must look at it, we must analyze it, and we must say, maybe we can't pay it, and deal with the consequences of saying we cannot pay it, and postpone it. Other countries have done it, Ghana being the most recent. And yes, we suffer a little bit, but we postpone this pain. Let us not go around in circles, believing we have another alternative. Let us deal with this debt. Let us agree that we cannot pay it. We have no money. We can't afford it. We can't afford to see this debt payments, which are in this coming financial year in the budget, at a total of 1.7 trillion going out from our sweat. It is too much. We cannot do it. Saa ingine, I like to remember wakati wa Moi, he said, hakuna pesa, hakuna pesa, hakuna pesa. You will not get it from us. You cannot do it. So let us face this monster and say we cannot pay, and we thus need to accept that position and deal with the consequences. It will hurt us in the short term, but I can assure you in the long term, this is the answer, not coming back with an attempt to raise impossible taxes. Asanteni sana.